And we're back. You are chatting with John P. Today we have Federico Talks Watches. How you doing?
Once again, chilling. We just shot a video for my channel.
So you probably already know him. You probably already follow him. But if you don't, check him out. Federico Talks Watches. Also, once again, DelReyWatch.com. We got a lot of cool stuff in, like this Cuervo y Sobrinos, that if you watch his video, you can hear more about how we both love the brand and it's undervalued. And it could be on the list, but there's other things nonetheless. So let's jump right into it, guys. 5 watches you should not avoid. So what I mean here is these are watches that people avoid, but you should not, and for the reasons we're about to mention. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. Two-tone Rolex sports model. So two-tone Submariners, two-tone GMT Masters,
Daytonas,
and two-tone Daytonas. Here's the thing. We get calls all the time for stainless steel sports, stainless steel,
or gold. Sometimes gold.
and gold. But people overlook the two-tone. It's either they want to go all the way or they don't want to go anyway. They just want, something under the radar. And that's fair, but there's still the sports models. There's...
Sure, I just think people may associate it with a little bit of an old-fashioned look from like the 80s American Seiko.
But it is coming back.
Thing. It is coming back.
It is coming back.
And it shouldn't be... Listen, they're a little bit more expensive than the stainless steel. They're a lot cheaper than the solid gold. And if you want a little pizzazz, I say do it. I love the two-tone models.
And because they're becoming more popular every day, the value on these are starting to rise. So now if you want to get yourself like a Zenith two-tone Daytona, there's a lot of room for an upswing there, as well as the two-tone subs, which can be had at steels. They can sometimes be had cheaper than the stainless steel alternatives.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For additional gold.
What can we say, man? The market is what the market is, but right now there's definitely an opportunity.
So the next one.
The next one, I'm going to go with the Rolex Explorer 2.
The Rolex Explorer 2.
It's another Rolex on this list, but I think it's probably the last one. The previous generation 40mm 16570. It's not a watch that you shouldn't avoid. I mean, it's a watch that a lot of people aren't avoiding. I mean, it sells quite well. We sell it particularly well, I think. But it certainly doesn't get the same love as the Sub and the GMT. But it has most of the same functions.
It's true.
And it could be had for a much less expensive price. At the time, it was considered an entry-level Rolex, but the quality was still there. The quality is equal to it. The movement is the same as the GMT Master, for the most part, I think. It's just a great way to get a sports model for a discount.
That's well said. And the reason that some of the more hardcore or a little more traditional collectors avoid it is because the bezel doesn't rotate. There's this weird mentality that exists where if the bezel doesn't rotate, it's not a sports watch, which is not necessarily true because you have the Daytona.
And the Rolex Explorer 1.
And so many others. And that mentality is starting to die, but probably because they can't find a Submariner.
Yeah, ceramic subs are over 10 grand these days. I mean, when is the world going to realize it's just nuts?
Crazy. And so the next one that you should not avoid is watches that have patina, not damage, or they have interesting dials. So there's Rolexes that have cracked dials called spider dials, sponge dials, which I coined the 16800. And actually, if you're looking for one, there's one on the forum.
Is it sold by you?
I had sold one a long time ago.
Oh, so a friend of ours is reselling it.
Yeah, he's reselling it. So the sponge dial or any other, there's other dials that have aged to be a cream. And for those of you that want like a newer looking watch, they're avoided. But these kind of interesting, unique dials you see at vintage watches go at auction for premium. So it's kind of in this weird area.
Patina is not damage, but it is damage, right? I think the differentiation between patina and just straight up damage is how uniform or aesthetically pleasing it is. So, if it looks good to your eye, I say don't avoid it. Not at all.
Don't do it. Do it. The next one.
I see what you did there.
What's the next one?
The next one is watches without in-house movements.
Oh, wow. You could really talk about this.
Listen, nowadays, there's a craze. It's got to be in-house. It's got to be in-house to be worth anything. How are they charging $6,000 for an ETA? Listen, guys. First of all, let's make two distinctions. A $500 ETA watch and a $5,000 ETA watch are not the same.
So many other things.
Case construction, materials, bracelet, that's different. And then the two movements aren't the same either. Most companies that charge that premium for the ETA, they just use the design and a few parts. They replace the bridges, the regulating system, they decorate it. I'm not saying they're all good values. I'm just saying don't compare a $500 ETA with a $5,000 ETA because you just sound like a moron. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about this.
There's in-house movements that exist where they just license the architecture, so the same design of Asian movements.
Yeah, and the in-house doesn't necessarily mean it's a good movement. Just because some dude decided to make his own exclusive movement that is hard to find doesn't mean it's any good. Doesn't mean it's serviceable. Doesn't mean it keeps time. Doesn't mean it actually works. There's a lot of great in-house movements and prestigious manufacturers. Patek Philippe, Girard Perregaux, Omega with the coaxial. There's some great in-house movements. But just because someone is selling an in-house movement, don't think for a second that means it's a good movement.
It's become a bit of a marketing ploy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a marketing ploy, and people poo-pooing at a little too much.
It's very unfair, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a limit to ETA movements, but they're the industry standard for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, on the list of 5 watches you should not avoid is the Grand Seiko. Essentially, the whole modern Grand Seiko line. Here's the thing. I also overlooked Grand Seiko for the longest time, especially when it said very clearly Seiko. And that's why people do overlook it. They see Seiko, they hear Seiko, and they...
That's why I said I disliked it. I'm not gonna lie.
You're defending yourself.
I'm not defending myself. I'm just coming clean. They make great watches. I can't get over the fact that you're paying X amount of money for a Seiko. Is that a stupid reason? Maybe, but it is a reason.
And that is, as you can see, that is why people avoid Grand Seiko. But when you actually look at it and you see the lines, you see the case construction, and you see the decoration on the movement and how flawless it is, I mean, you can take a $4,000 or $5,000 Grand Seiko, sometimes even a little bit less, and you can put it right up against a $20,000 watch from another manufacturer, and the quality is going to be there.
You're right. However, Grand Seiko doesn't appeal to everybody for marketing reasons, as we said, and also for aesthetic reasons. But it's something that I've grown to evolve. Don't avoid them just because it says Seiko. I know it can be a little difficult,
right?
But it's not a great reason. However, if it is your reason, I know where you're coming from. Listen, I've gone through
it, and that makes a lot of sense. And it just is what it is. But over time, we're seeing them develop more of a luxury name to the brand.
Absolutely.
Which is fair, because they really do a great job.
They're trying. They're absolutely trying.
We can see his opinion. They're trying.
Listen, they're not there for me yet, but they're trying. All I can be is honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I'm going to spend my own $5,000 on a Grand Seiko. My mental block is still there. But I can tell you it's not a good reason.
That's fair enough. So let's leave it on that note. But for those of you with your pitchfork sharpened, I do use this this scenario a few times. Point them somewhere else. We do like Grand Seiko. We have some at delraywatch.com.
We have one right now because all the other ones are sold out.
Because people love them.
That's true.
Anyways, guys, we've had Federico Talks Watches here. You've been chatting with John P. Don't forget to check out delraywatch.com, Instagram, The Real John P., Instagram, Federico Talks Watches. All that stuff. Like and subscribe. Get us up there. Keep us making videos for you.
That's true.
Thanks for watching, guys. You've been chatting with John P.
Take care.
Ciao.